Smiles and Memories, and I'm here with the J Moja Ishirini. The last couple of days we spent a lot of time in the garage, tuning a few things here and there, making a few replacements on purchases. But today is time to take the J Moja Ishirini on a small test drive. And what a better way to take it on a test drive than around Nairobi. You may be asking yourself, how are you gonna go around Nairobi? The answer is very simple. I'm going to circle Nairobi through the bypasses. That means I will go through the 4 bypasses in Nairobi: the southern bypass, the western bypass, northern bypass, then the eastern bypass. I'm going to take the whole loop, and I'll put a timer here to see how long it takes me in normal everyday drive during the day, normal day traffic. So without further ado, this is the J Moja Ishirini, and I am Miles and Memories. Till the next time, see ya. So here we are at the southern bypass. I'm currently at southern bypass, which begins along Nairobi Mombasa Road, and right ahead you can see the Silicon Road going across. To the right of the screen, where you have the Elton building, then on the left is Olemara Sereni and Sereni Hotel. So Emara Sereni, that is. Then from now we'll just head straight forward towards Gitaru, which is the end of southern bypass. Then we join the western bypass, then connect to the northern bypass in Raka, then go all the way through the north bypass to Ruiru near Tatu City, and join the eastern bypass and look back to our starting point. So I'll see you in about 2 hours and something, maybe 2.5 hours, because I'll be going in cruising speeds, driving speeds, so that you can enjoy the views and the drive. I'll be talking less in this video, so just enjoy the ride, and I'll only speak when it's really necessary, okay? And always remember to always carry your bottle of water with fluids, and yeah. This is Miles and Memories. Let's make memories through these miles, you know. Traveling is freedom. Let's hit the road. So now we begin our southern bypass journey. It begins right now. It's about roughly, let's say, 30 kilometers from Mombasa Road, goes all the way to Gitaru. On my left, that's the Emara Sereni and the Ole Sereni Hotel. On my right, you can see that's the Next Gen Mall and other apartments in the vicinity. Then I also gonna see the Cove Hotel. It's around that area. If you can look straight ahead, you can see the Ngong Hills. Ngong Hills are really beautiful, you know. Then of course, it's very, very scenic on my left. That is the Nairobi National Park. It's called the wildlife capital for a reason. You can see there's some police check there, just checking the vehicles whereabouts and what they're carrying in their luggage, so that should be good. Yeah, so they're saying on my left that's the Nairobi National Park, and this road goes along that way until Langata Road, then we'll connect somewhere at some interchange in Ngong Road. I will list all the interchanges as we pass them right on the screen, and as I mentioned, I'll also put the timer that's beginning on the screen right now, so you're gonna see how long it takes me, and at the end of it all, I'm going to share with you the journey, the number of kilometers I've covered, and the time it's taken me, because I don't plan to make any stops whatsoever. So yeah. Right ahead you can see the signage of Nairobi National Park. We have the rhinos. Yeah, they're very beautiful. KWS, the world's only wildlife capital. Alright, that's really awesome. I've been to the Nairobi National Park several times indeed, and one of these fine days I'm gonna take you for that journey. I'm gonna record everything for you from the entrance until the end of the journey in Nairobi National Park. It should take about anywhere between 2 and 3 hours if you just do a quick drive. But if you take longer, it's gonna take about 4 hours. An interesting thing about the Nairobi National Park, if you're planning to visit Nairobi National Park, it's best that you do it in the wee hours of the morning. Probably get there by 6 o'clock in the morning and begin your safari. Why 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock because one, that's the time the park opens to the public, and number two, that's when most animals are very active. So because of the hot weather and the sun, most animals tend to do their hunting and grazing either early in the morning or at night. So the best time to have a glimpse of these beautiful animals Kenya has to offer is awesome, that you just do a safari in the morning, alright? If you've never traveled to Nairobi National Park, maybe hit me in my DMs, or you can send me an email, and or even send me a message on WhatsApp through the number I'll put on this video. Left ahead you can see the Hindu temple never been there, but I can imagine how big it is. Of course, it includes other things like the hospitals and other facilities, social facilities, of course. So this is a junction heading towards Karen, towards Langata Road, and we are heading towards Kikuyu. That's where our next destination is. Go back to Langata Road, that's the road you take. The interchange goes back to Langata Road. And back there, forgot to mention, we have the Wilson Airport. The right side, just past it. Unfortunately, we couldn't see an early morning airplane landing at the airport. Anyway, truck, yeah, on the right, you already know where the place is. We'll be passing through Kibra. Drivers behind me can get really annoyed. I'm on the fast lane, but I'm not going at the speed that they expect me to. The truck always keep to the left. They have their own climbing lanes. I don't know why that guy gave me the eye anyway. It's a very forested area. I think the Ngong Forest, if I'm not wrong. Southern Bypass was constructed mainly to ease traffic from the CBD. traffic from the CBD. It directs traffic from Mombasa, the heavy trucks, commercial trucks that head towards Western Kenya, into Uganda, Rwanda, yeah, even DRC Congo. So this really helped the traffic, because the traffic was a nightmare before the bypass was constructed. These trucks usually went through the Nairobi CBD, which was a nightmare, especially during the rush hour times. You'll always find serious and annoying traffic jams. Construction of the Southern Bypass began in 2012 and was officially completed in 2016. Yeah. That was about roughly 4 years. As I mentioned earlier, the bypass is about 30 kilometers, to be precise. It's 29.6 kilometers in length from where we started our journey at Mombasa Road, along Mombasa Road, the junction of Likoni Road. And how much did it cost to construct this 30 kilometer stretch of bypass? That would be about, in dollars, that would be $180 million. At the time, it was roughly 18 billion Kenyan shillings. Such a costly infrastructure. But years later, it's still in good condition, except a few repairs and maintenance. It's all good. Then despite the figure, most of the amount was paid and funded through by the Chinese banks, the Chinese government. The partnership, then a small percentage was done by the Kenyan government to be considered an investment. Do I think it was worth it? Definitely yes, because as many people say and know, time is money, and it's really time is really money. So if you can save time, then you go and make more money. In the true sense of the word, I mean that. Let's say you're a farmer. Yes, you plant perishable goods, and you have a big demand, a huge demand in the market. Yeah. If initially it would have taken you 4 hours to take your products from your farm to the markets by road, and then someone comes in and tells you, oh, you know what, I'm gonna make this road better for you, so that it took you 4 hours before, now it's gonna take you only 1 hour. I don't know if there's anyone who's gonna refuse that deal. At what cost? I think the taxpayers' money paid for all these roads, and the maintenance is usually done through your fuel levy. If you buy fuel, if you fill up your tank, of course, some of the tax money is going to be used to do some maintenance, some repairs, to ensure the roads are up to standard for years to come. If I can recall, years ago, growing up, we never really had good roads, and I can honestly say it's a luxury to have this road, to be driving on this road. It's a privilege. Some may say it's our right as citizens, but not all countries or governments around the world are very civil in that manner. Yeah, so I'll say this project was among the Vision 2030. Which began during the Kibaki regime in the early 2000s, and so it was one of the Millennium Development Goals, MDG, better infrastructures and whatnot. So I'm sure by 2030 is fast approaching, we will have checked off some great lists, some items on our bucket lists. Of course, now we have the SDG. I'm not sure what the SDG means. I'll put the meaning below. I think Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not sure about that, but it probably could be. Anyway, we are in the current area. It's very green, lush, and very hospitable, habitable. As you can already tell, there's a lot of trucks on this road. There were periods when the Southern Bypass was closed for a while, so the trucks applied through the Nairobi CBD, which will of course brought some snarl-ups and whatnot. But once it was reopened, they had to take the usual routes. I hope one day get to travel in one of these trucks from their source to the destination, which usually is from Mombasa, and they could be going anywhere really. They could be going to Western Kenya, they could be going to Uganda, DRC Congo, Rwanda, or even South Sudan, because as I said earlier, this road was used to push traffic away from the city center. Most private vehicles also use this road when they are heading to their various destinations. are approaching the Western Bypass, that's in Gitaru. We are in Kikuyu at the moment. If you take the left exit, you'll be heading towards Kikuyu town, but we are going to go straight. Then if you go further straight ahead, you're going to join the Nairobi Nakuru highway, which in my opinion should be about 3-4 lanes all the way to Nakuru because of the heavy traffic. Like in the in future videos or in my videos, I'll take you around towards central Kenya, and the roads are beautiful, you know. So we need that to extend towards the Rift Valley area of Kenya, and the road network in Kenya will be superb. Currently it's good, but it can be better, you know. There's always room for improvement, but we are heading the right direction. So if you head left, that's the Nakuru Nairobi highway, but we'll go straight on to Gitaru. This road is still under construction. Once it will be done, it will complete the whole circuit. So we're joining the Western Bypass. Welcome to the Western Bypass. of suburbs within this region, and this Western bypass really helped connect the bypasses. And in Kiambu now, in Kiambu County, so there are a lot of bypasses around, a lot of estates and suburbs. So this road really opened up the place. Looks really, really good. The Western bypass, which we are currently on, connects Kikuyu, where we just were, until Ruaka. So in Ruaka, you can join Ruaka from Kikuyu. A total distance of around 17 kilometers. And the construction began in 2019 and was officially gazetted to end in 2022. So what was the cost? The cost was about $173 million. That at the time was 17 billion shillings, Kenyan shillings. Roughly 17 billion shillings. The major stops in this town include Gitaru, Wangige, Kihara, Dederu, Rumingi, and finally to Ruaka. just enjoying the views. So here we are at the end of the Western Bypass. We'll be heading to Ruaka. I'll be taking the exit on the roundabout. Now the sun is directly in my eyes. Welcome to Northern Bypass. The northern bypass to the first bypass to be constructed, to begin construction, which was from 2009 officially and ended in 2014. It's just over 31 kilometers. It passes through Ruaka, Runda, and major suburb areas along the road. Basically, it connects Ruaka to Ruiru. In terms of the costs, it apparently was the cheapest of, it was among the cheapest of all the bypasses, given that it began earlier works in 2009, and at that time the total cost came to about $85 million. That's roughly 8.5 billion Kenyan shillings at the time. So this heads to Ruaka town, but we are going to go straight towards Ruiru Tapu City area and join the Eastern Bypass. sun's directly in my face, and that's why I brought this sunnies. Yeah, it really helps. On the right, you can see the Ferris wheel, or the Eye of Nairobi as I like to call it, which is located into rivers. It's a nice place to visit, so if you haven't, you can make an effort too. The Ferris wheel as well is really great at night with the lights. I'm sure during major events or festivities or holidays, it's a beacon to reckon, yeah? It's a beacon to reckon with. So we'll be heading very soon towards Runda area. I don't think that's legal for whatever they're doing. I think it's very dangerous, if you ask me. That question mark behind that car. So the question that you're carrying, what does that even mean? fast and safely as I could. I like that light bar, the light strip, if I would say, that vehicle ahead. Overlapping, I don't think it's a good idea. People still do it, so anyway, I'm in no rush, so I'll just stick to the rails and I'll get to my destination still. I wonder what this small traffic jam is about. 50. Take the roundabout, take the second exit, you'll head towards Muthaiga. I'm in the third exit to Muthaiga. Area now. Mega church, mega. Within the Thome area, going to Sarani, Resambu, Kawa West, can all be found along this road, along this bypass. go to TRM Thika Road, and right if you wanna go towards Garden Estate. But we're going to go straight ahead towards Roiro. They call it Roiro. But I say Ruiro. Maybe I should just say the way it's supposed to be Roiro. Roiro, okay. I didn't want to get stuck behind that guy. One thing I like about the bypasses, they're very well signed. There's good signage, and it's easy for anyone who's never been to these places to know where they're going to and whatnot. What happened to yielding when you're joining from a junction? I don't know, maybe she was in a hurry and had to go get somewhere really fast, so yeah, she was definitely in a hurry. She disappeared into thin air. There she is. Where was she going so fast? Well, I just caught up back to her. Caught up back. Haraka haraka ina baraka. Mos. that flyover goes towards Githurai 44, Kahawa West, Jacaranda Estate, and whatnot. Goes to the Kahawa West, Jacaranda, 44, Zimmerman, will connect to Istanbul, then back to Thika Road. Now in Kahawa West.
Watu wengi walionekana kana kwamba ni watumishi wa Mungu wamebadilika kuwa ni watumishi wakubwa wa Shetani, kwa sababu wale walikuwa safari ya usiku
as you might have noticed, within residential or highly densely populated areas, we have several speed bumps and the traffic moves very slow. Along the bypasses, the highways to be exact, with little to no traffic or population. It's usually a speed limit of about 110 kilometers or so. But in within townships, it's more or less 50 and below kilometers per hour. are now, this is the Kenyatta Hospital and the funeral home. We are now in Ruiru area near Tatu City. On my right, that's the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. KUTTRH. Or Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital. KUTTRH. Good sky blue vehicle. Now in a place called Membli. Soon taking a right turn and heads towards Eastern Bypass. the roundabout, priority is always given to the vehicles on the right. Yeah, so we are in around Tattoo City area, and we have joined the beginning of Eastern Bypass. This is our last bypass as we look back towards Southern Bypass. So Eastern Bypass began construction in 2017 and ended in 2021. It is about 32 kilometers. It connects. It goes all the way to other parts of central Kenya. It begins somewhere off Mombasa Road, connecting with the airport North Road. It comes all the way towards Thika Superhighway. So it directs traffic from Mombasa Road towards central Kenya and towards you can say areas like Kikuyu, Ruaka, and the likes. After the construction work began, it cost a total of around 85 million US dollars, which at the time was roughly 8.5 billion Kenyan shillings. At the end of this video, when we go back to our starting point, I will put the total cost of how much the bypasses cost and the total kilometers, and you're going to do a rough estimate calculation of how much it costs per kilometer to construct these 4 bypasses. You know, must have been heavy on the taxpayers. Have a sip of water, my drink. So we are still in Roiro area. We are in Roiro. And right ahead you can see there's the Thika Superhighway going towards towards Eastern Bypass, that route all the way towards Mombasa Road. Thank you very much. Bro didn't indicate, man. That is not good. Please show us your ways, show us where you're going. Yeah, clear them, you know, like, hey buddy, I know you're behind me, I'm about to take a right turn, I'm about to take a left turn, I'm about to stop. At least your brake lights work. Yep. That truck driver was acting up like a BMW vehicle drivers. They never show us their ways, man. Show us your ways. And we should not. Should never let people know your next move, huh? On my right, some really good eucalyptus trees. For sale. can already tell how Nairobi is very diversified. You have different environments, the neighborhoods, and the vegetation around these bypasses. It goes from green to not so many trees around to open fields, and that's the nature of the country, very diversified. Some areas are very populated, others are very unpopulated. So we are around Nairobi Gate Industrial Park. I remember when the construction of this roundabout was just underway. There was very poor signage on the road, and I was traveling in the wee hours of the morning. I was heading out of Nairobi. Then it just so happened I was coming down the road really fast, around the speed limit, with my headlights on, but because of I didn't know we had a roundabout around, or no pun intended, we had a roundabout ahead. I almost flew over it. I waited not for my co-passenger at the time. So from that point on, I was like, okay. I knew the bypass, I knew the Eastern bypass very well by then. But it was a while since I traveled before they put the roundabouts and the expansion, So yeah, that was a close call, but never again. erratic move by that driver. Oh my goodness. Why make such a sudden change? Damn, that's very dangerous. I skipped a bit there, I won't lie. That was very dangerous. So right ahead if you take your left exit, you'll head towards Ruai area, Ruai, Roiro, Ruai, I don't know. Anyway, that goes towards Ruai. Then on the right is underneath me is the Kangundo Road, all the way to Ruai, and those are the Joska, Kamulu areas. Then on my right, the Kangundo Road goes to, I think, Choka, and all the way you can find your way back to Thika Road. I'm still thinking about that lorry. Gave me like a small scare, you know. There are some really bad drivers out there, so you always have to be very vigilant and careful. Like this guy coming on the wrong side, speeding downhill, you know. It's crazy, man. Very dangerous. Every time you're on the road, you never know what you're gonna find. It's crazy, man. Yeah, so we are approaching Utawala area. Utawala is one of the towns along, or residential places along the Eastern Bypass. It's really been upcoming. It's been really growing over the past few years. And yeah, some good developments. I see there's a lot of lighting in the bypass. It's a good thing, and a lot of advertisement as well, because you always cater to the population. So that's Utawala ahead. Why wouldn't that guy really wait for me? He could have just waited for me to pass before making that dangerous maneuver across the road. Anyway, this is the chop. So there's a junction ahead. If you head left, you'll also be heading in Utawala, as long as to your right. So it's really been grown over the past few years. Maybe someone who was here a long time ago would feel nostalgic about the development of this area. So, but on we go. We're still on the Eastern Bypass. Crossing, because that's the right thing to do, and it's also mandated by the traffic laws of Kenya. This is still Utawala. It's quite big actually, if you think of it. On my left, that's the National Police College. But first, before you get there, that's the Utawala Academy. Over the years, it's been quite successful school in terms of its performance with the students nationally. Yeah, so it's a good school. Utawala also hosts a couple of high-end schools. from middle to high income schools, depending on the curriculum you want to take your kids to. Follow me, let me merge left. That's the National Police College Embakasi A campus, which is the which was formerly known as, or it's still known as the Administration Police Service, or the AP. Just adjacent is Embakasi National Police College, Embakasi B campus, which is for the GSU, meaning the General Service Unit, which in recent years was merged to join the National Police Service. So Utawala generally has a lot of law enforcement or people in service. So I would say generally it's a very safe area with that regard, if there's anything to go by. So approaching my left, as I said, Embakasi big campus of the National Police Service, the GSU. And yeah, as you can see, this place is really heavily secure, or with a lot of security personnel. There are colleges, most of them of course reside around here. Then just along this road, on my left side still, we are going to find another security personnel area, which is the Kenya military. The Kenya military also found along Embakasi in Utawala. The barracks is the Embakasi Barracks. The Embakasi Barracks is located just adjacent to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and that's for obvious reasons. You want to protect your natural assets from any interior and internal or external threats. keen enough, you would have seen that airplane takeoff. That means you are approaching the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA or NBO Airport. So you can see these are vast lands to my left and my right. It's not been occupied because of one, we have the airport runway close by, so we need a bit of runoff area in case of anything, which I don't think has ever happened, but I'm not really sure. If anybody knows, maybe they can let us know below. And secondly, because we also have the military around, so they wouldn't want any proximity to maybe residential buildings around, so they need to secure the place, the airport and the military base. We are approaching. Okay, this is the entrance to the Embakasi Barracks military base. Better known as the Embakasi Garrison. Left, that is Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Shiny Benzo 750 or 75 Tronic, the E250, 250. Ring Road. Outer Ring Road, then on my left there is an airport exit road. Always have your water or drink bottle nearby to quench that thirst. The roundabout where we joined, where I said we were at the military barracks, the Embakasi garrison. That was the end of the Eastern Bypass, and now we are on the Airport North Road, which will join Mombasa Road, the old Mombasa Road, then we go to the new Mombasa Road. Yeah, and a few kilometers from there, a few minutes, we should be ending our video from there. So I'm pretty pumped and excited. Unfortunately, the rear view camera kinda died out on me, so the end won't be visible for using the rear view camera, but I think it's covered most of the footage. For now, we'll just do the portrait and the front facing camera, which has been running the entire time. So on my right is an estate or a residential area known as Pipeline. Very heavily populated, densely populated. Underneath me is the Mombasa Road and the expressway. We'll soon be joining that road, heading towards Likoni Road Junction along Nairobi Mombasa Road. Yep. Side of Nairobi has a lot of industries and warehouses. I wonder if he knows one of his taillights is broken. left taillights isn't really working. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Should I tell him? But I won't tell him because it's Nanya. It's Nanya. You may be wondering what the hell is Nanya. Why should I tell him? Because it's Nanya. Well, it's Nanya of my damn business. Nanya of my business. Nanya is none of ya. Yeah? None of my goddamn business. Nanya business. Alright. Shall be taking a U-turn, a right U-turn. Go ahead straight on, you go towards, would be in the old Mombasa Road, and from there there's a couple of industries, the Nairobi port, the inland port, and all the good stuff. And right ahead we'll be heading back towards Eastern Bypass, the Airport North Road. So we'll be joining Mombasa Road in 200 meters. summary, the ride has been great, very great. Average the drive, it's been fun. Seeing Nairobi on its outskirts, the outer rings, the Nairobi look. Yep. So I've noticed a couple of things. It's changing weather, not the weather, changing the environment, population, how good the roads are, the state of the roads, the signage. I like the signage of the bypasses. And they are really clean and well maintained, so that's a big plus. So they almost rival the quality of the expressway, because the expressway on my right is relatively new compared to the bypasses. Yeah, so that was the Nairobi loop. We have to head back to our starting point here at Southern Bypass. This is where it all began, yeah, and we are at the end of our journey. We are at the end of our journey. It's been great, it's been wonderful, it's been a really good experience. So here we are after however how many hours or minutes we've spent on the road and the number of kilometers without a stop. So that's a great experience. Yeah, for those who've never been to these bypasses, I hope you can find some value in the video and maybe have a look around how they look like. Yeah, so this has been miles and memories. Thank you for the memories, thank you for the miles. And traveling is freedom. Freedom is in traveling. Okay, so because there are a lot of trucks around here, I'm gonna end my video right there. If you like this kind of content, don't be shy to subscribe, because videos are coming in hot and fast. Until the next mile, this has been Miles and Memories. See you in the next adventure. Peace out.
Miti kikinama, to unakwenda, ndege wanaimba kwa furaha na amani. Kila siku asubuhi, jua linamka mbali, twiga kubwa akiwaambia wanyama, kutazama nyota zikicheza mbali. Mvua inapoanguka, inatuonyesha wema wa Mungu. Kumbukumbu za tembo, ngurumo za simba, uzuri wa uko huru katika savana hii. Katika kimya cha usiku, Afrika ina wimbo wake mwenyewe. Miti kikinama, ndo unakwenda, ndege wanaimba kwa furaha na amani. Kila siku asubuhi, jua linamka mbali, twiga kubwa akiwaambia wanyama, kutazama nyota zikicheza mbali. Mvua inapoanguka, inatuonyesha wema wa Mungu. Kumbukumbu za tembo, ngurumo za simba, uzuri wa uko huru katika savana hii. Katika kimya cha usiku, Afrika ina wimbo wake mwenyewe.